Major warnings from Elon Musk. The United States is in a critical situation, but we're also going to talk about information charts that will show us that we, as silver and gold investors, happen to be in pretty good shape. So while we're going to get real scared, at the same time, we're going to feel that warm and fuzzy feeling that only us, silver, gold, precious metals stackers, precious metal mining stock investors can know that we are safe, that we have an insurance policy. Let's start with what Elon is warning us about, and it gets more and more interesting from there. Elon said this again recently: if we don't tackle the national debt, all tax revenue will go to paying interest, and there will be nothing left for anything else. And he retweeted this from the Wall Street Map. It was only July 28th of 2024, just a few short months ago, guys, that we reached $35 trillion in national debt. Now, just 100 days later, that's when we crossed that $36 trillion threshold. Interest on the national debt is on pace for $1.4 trillion for fiscal year 2025. That'll be about 25% of U.S. government revenue going to pay interest alone. Yes, that's right. If you're a taxpayer in the United States, every dollar, every one of these paper dollars that you send in to Uncle Sam, out of each one of those, 25 cents, not one of these, because this is a 90% constitutional, but hold on, you get the point. 25 cents will go to paying interest alone. This is a critical, stunning situation that we have going on right now in our country. Then we get this from the rabbit hole. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. It took 200 years for the U.S. debt to reach $12 trillion. 200 years to build up to $12 trillion. 12 trillion is how much we added in 4 years between 2020 and 2024. And if this chart does not send shivers down your spine, shiver me timbers, like the old silver-loving pirates used to say, nothing will. 221 years is this big red box from before 1800 all the way up to, well, whatever year that is, but it was 221 years. That's how long it took, all that time. Then look up here, from 2020 through present, that's all it took. It took all this time to add the first 12 trillion. It took this little bitty bit of time, 4 years, to add the most recent 12 trillion. Guys, it is going parabolic. It is not a good thing. The only result from this will be silver and gold, precious metals going much higher, because the government is going to have no choice but to monetize the debt, to print money to buy our own debt. That's the biggest smoke and mirrors, bubble gum and duct tape, whatever you want to call it, unicorn fart dust, fiscal and monetary. This is, and it's not unique. This has happened many times throughout history. I know, I understand. I know it feels like it's never going to happen. Like, and look, I could be wrong, but I know I'm not. Because if we look at math and we look at history, it definitively shows us that this is what happens. But we feel like, oh, it's never going to happen. Even very smart guys. One of my best friends, who's a super successful CPA, he's retired, but he's multi-millionaire, smart guy, and he used to be all upset about the national debt like decades ago. Now, when I talk to him, he's like, it's not a big deal. It's not, they can just print money, blah, blah, blah. People are asleep, right? It's called recency bias. It can happen. It will happen. And when it does, do you think you'll be really happy that you own precious metals? I think undoubtedly you will. Let's go run out, since we're on the subject, and take a quick look, go on our morning field trip to the U.S. debt clock, where indeed we see that the U.S. national debt continues to skyrocket. I wanted to show you this really interesting thing on the U.S. debt clock. It's called the where'd it go? The dollar to silver ratio. I'll circle it here with my yellow cursor. Guys, that measures, for each 1 ounce of silver that's being produced this year, That tells us that there's over $1,000 now, $1,010 being added to the U.S. M2 money supply, paper money being created for each 1 ounce of silver, $1,010. Of course, since we have a little keen interest in tracking this number, we'll add that. I mean, it just continues to go up. Today is 11, 20, 24, and what did I say it was? $1,010. What does that tell us about the creation of paper money going on right now? Right? They can print that money out of nowhere without. So we do have big warnings. Now, what else do we know about Elon? He's also warning to send shockwaves. I got to show it again through the U.S. economy. He tweeted this himself. The Doge father. Department of Government Efficiency. All right. Now, guys, this is crazy news just to show you how much things are going to be changing. Now they're talking about, and you've heard me, I've ranted about this. We won't go on. This has to do with your life and my life, so I'll talk about it briefly, and that is pharmaceutical advertising. Anyone who knows me knows I have ranted for years. Why when I turn on the television, why are we subjected to ad after ad from pharmaceutical companies? And have you ever noticed they're at a park, they're at their neighbor's backyard having a party, they're all having fun. And then you get the warning this drug can cause thoughts of depression or suicide. And, it's like, okay, great. But Ozempic, remember that guy, Jed or Jake, that comes out of the theater and he's got plaque? I don't know, but they're going to get rid of pharmaceutical advertising. And what always got me so upset about it was like, why do pharmaceutical companies have to advertise? I mean, and not just advertise, but like they advertise more than the darn car insurance companies that all claim they can get you the best deal. And why do who's paying for it? You are. You should be angry. I'm angry. You should be angry, right? Pharmaceutical companies don't need to advertise. Think about it. If you're an eye doctor and you deal with problems with eyes, right? Wouldn't you think that your eye doctor would know about the different pharmaceuticals that are available to treat your specific situation? Why on earth, and I promise I'll stop and we're going to get back strictly to gold and silver, but why on earth did we have to have pharmaceutical? So apparently, well, here, I got a tweet, something to show you. That's not it. There it is. Elon says, no advertising for pharma. And that Robert F. Kennedy guy is going to lead the charge. And if they do, I will become a big believer, because it's absolute BS that the pharmaceutical industry advertises. I'm sorry. I went off on and you know why? Here, I'll show you why. Because you're paying for it. You're absolutely paying for it. Hold on here. That's not it. Here it is. This is going to make you angrier. The United States has one of the highest per capita expenditures for healthcare. This chart, and then we will get, this is not silver or gold. We're going to get back to it. But this chart shows life expectancy versus health expenditures. So on the left over here, I don't think you can see, but on the up and down, the, what is that? Vertical line is life expectancy. The horizontal line is per capita, per person, on average, how much is spent per person on healthcare. Look at all these countries where average life expectancy, the red line's the United States, by the way, is way higher. Germany, Netherlands, Japan, Switzerland, Spain, Italy. They all on average live much, much longer than us. Look how much we spend on average per person on healthcare in the United States. $10,000. Look how much they spend. Here's 5,000's right in the middle. 5,000's about average. It's a joke. It's a crying shame. And when it comes to Trump, right? And I said this during his last presidency. I said, if he's really a businessman, he's going to fix the healthcare system because it's bankrupting Americans, average Americans, people like you and me, right? I have a family of four. You know how much it costs for healthcare? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Okay. And this is why. And I'll tell you why. And then, gosh, this is not a healthcare, but I'll tell you why. Because you got pharmaceutical companies spending billions of dollars advertising to you Don't you think your dermatologist? Don't you think your whatever other kind of doctors there are, your gastrointestinal doctor knows about the different drugs? That's their job, right? You're the patient. The doctor should know. I could see if they maybe advertise a little bit in medical journals, whatever. I understand. Go to conventions, give talks, but I don't need to watch some crazy pharmaceutical, and and then they all warn you that you're going to commit suicide if you take the drug. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to ask my doctor about that. I digress. Trump is going to be the best president for gold and silver in the history of the universe. You watch, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you who else, like the king of gold and silver, is saying it as well. Okay. Talk is cheap. And I just want to, remember, right, what he's talking about. If he does a third of what they're talking about, we are going to have shockwaves going through the economy, through the markets, uncertainty. And if gold and silver price love two things, okay, inflation and uncertainty. And Donald J. Trump is going to deliver. I forgot, maybe it's not Donald. Anyway, Donald Trump is going to deliver both of those in spades. Massive uncertainty and massive inflation. You watch, right? And remember one thing, right? To talk about cutting the thing. I just want to give, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. All this talk about, we're going to cut $2 trillion from the, I want to remind you of something. Back in 2016, Donald Trump ran on a platform that he was going to rejuvenate the coal industry. If you look at what happened to the coal industry during his 4 years as president, it continued to go down the tubes. So, look, not a political statement. You probably can discern where who I would have voted for, but I'm not going to tell you, but you can probably figure it out, right? Let's just say, well, anyway, I was happy with the outcome, but I understand everybody's different, but we got to be real about what's going on. This guy is the king of debt, the king of inflation, the king of spending. Okay, now, mining legend Pierre Lassonde. You ever heard of the Lassonde curve? Pierre Lassonde was the co-founder of Franco-Nevada, one of the biggest gold and silver royalty companies in the world. He's probably in his 70s or 80s. He's the king of gold and silver, super highly regarded. He said this, Trump's election is the best thing in the world that could have ever happened for gold and silver, okay? Trump's policies are inflationary. Things like tariffs, things like mass deportations, right, could get rid of a big section of our labor market here in the United States. The tax cuts are massively inflationary, okay? And people have been pointing out that, like, the government, whatever budget office had projected that Kamala Harris's plans would have added like $3 trillion to the national debt, and they're saying that Trump's plans, at minimum at this point, could add $7 trillion. Pierre Lassonde said this, and we've been talking about this, guys. This is the best news ever for you as a gold and silver investor. Pierre Lassonde. You hear me say it. You probably hear me say it too much. But Pierre Lassonde said that the period of time that we're going into right now is almost identical to the 1970s. And then he pointed out all those fantastic stats about gold and silver going up multiples higher. Let's look at some crazy charts. This one is going to make you very, very happy as a silver and gold investor. But let's go check the gold and silver price first. And I woke up this morning. I checked the silver price. It was down like 35, 40 cents per ounce. And I thought, oh no, gold was about level, but I think maybe it's made a bit of a comeback. So let's go out to channel sponsor Pimbex and do our daily update of the silver and gold price, PIMBEX. Guys, we love to get together. We love to talk about silver and gold. I love to have you guys here, but it wouldn't be possible without the support of Pimbex. So I'll ask you to please, I'm not going to tell you what to do or say you should. I'm just going to mention to you that you may greatly benefit by checking out Pimbex next time you are thinking about buying gold, silver, or platinum group metals online. And I'll tell you why, because what you'll find, I believe, is that they will offer you the most competitive pricing, a great selection, okay, and most importantly, a company that you can trust. A company that I've had overwhelming positive response from you, the basement dweller community, in regards to your experiences dealing with them. Excuse me. All right, let's do the update. We like to call this little golden triangle here. You can do this yourself, by the way. The Pimbex magic button. Let's press it. Take a deep breath. Take your blood pressure medicine. These are not the updated prices. And okay, silver's down 18 cents, but gold is up almost $9 per ounce. Now let's talk about why you don't have to worry about that, because I got a chart that we're going to look at that is super, to me says it all about what's going on right now and where we could be heading in the silver and gold market. This is a chart that came from, where's my chart? Oh, shoot. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know where it is. There it is. Let's pull it up. It was in a different place. The Silver Academy had this in one of their recent posts on Substack. Guys, look, this is precious metals industry remains very small. With silver, if you're a silver bug, this is music to your ears. With silver mining, hardly visible. So this chart compares the silver mining industry, the size of the gold mining industry, to the size of the crypto market, to the S&P 500 energy sector, and to Apple Computer. Look down here on the left, on the bottom. That tiny, almost invisible segment is the silver mining industry, currently valued at only $19 billion. Do you know how small that is? And why is that important? That's important to you as a silver investor. And gold's basically the same thing. For both of these, it's important, right? Because that's the future supply of silver. There's no money going into the silver mining sector. That means, right, as we are already, we're already knee deep into a silver shortage. We know how big the deficits are. There's not going to be a ton of new silver coming available because this sector has just been ignored and underinvested for decades, right? There's some companies out there that are doing some development work, companies like Dolly Varden, Capitan Silver, one of my favorites, Suma Silver, one that I own, BlackRock Silver, another one that I own, Silver Mountain Resources down in Peru, another one that I own. But really, there's just a handful of companies. Look at how crazy this is when you compare the entire silver mining industry and even the gold mining industry to the crypto market. I mean, is it just insane or what? Right? Look how much bigger now the crypto market is. $2 trillion. That's like what? 100 times bigger than the silver mining industry? Let's see. Yes, basically. And the gold mining industry total value as well. It's crazy. It's just, look at Apple Computer. $3.5 trillion market cap. One company, compared to 20 billion for the silver mining industry. I think that's like what, 170 times bigger? I mean, the entire silver mining industry. Guys, this just shows us how much room for improvement there is, not just in these mining stocks, but also in the metals. Right? When the world wakes up to the real value of silver and gold, we will be in for some very, very violent moves to the upside. Okay. And let's just look at silver and take a look at what, this is silver, but look how it's traded. Look how silver is traded. We're going to do an update on the paper silver trading. Here we go. This is from the dude. It's not stopping, guys. The silver market yesterday. This is data from Tuesday, November 19th. Today's Wednesday, the 20th. The silver paper market traded 391 million paper ounces yesterday. Okay. So what does that tell us? That tells us that even under normal market conditions, yesterday, the paper market traded darn near half in one day of the entire year's mining output. What does that tell you? I mean, and we've got the entire silver mining industry I mean, if you think about it, yesterday, 400 million ounces, they traded almost the half the market cap of the entire silver mining industry. They traded half of the entire year's output of silver. It doesn't make sense. And this is silver. Look at this. Look at this. This is silver. This is something that is becoming, make gold great again. Put this one up, right? Silver is so critical for computer chips, medical, military, energy. 4 years of big deficits, past peak mining supply, right? 4 years of big silver deficits. We're way past peak mining supply, and ain't nobody got a strategic reserve. So this was his little meme, right? Oil, critical applications, 10,000 plus. And there is a strategic reserve of oil. Silver, critical applications, 10,000 plus. There is not a strategic reserve of silver, okay? And if we go back, this gets interesting now, because we're going to talk about some, I'm not anti-Bitcoin, but I want to talk some facts about silver and gold and how it is now, I think, being so unfairly valued. And if we look at this chart, we go back to this, Dogecoin has a $54 billion market cap. Okay, so Dogecoin has a market cap almost 3 times the size of the entire silver market. Let me remind you, Dogecoin is a joke. Dogecoin was made up as a complete, utter joke. Elon Musk did some tweeting about it years back. It got this like cult following. But guys, this is a joke crypto, okay? From what I understand, I'm not a crypto guru, but the joke crypto now has a market cap almost 3 times the size of the silver, the entire silver mining industry. Are they trying to tell us something? Really, right? Really, Dogecoin valued 3 times of the entire silver mining sector. What if Bitcoin? Okay, now we're hearing people talk about Bitcoin's all the rage, digital gold. What if Bitcoin goes to $13 million? And then I thought about this. Who cares if Bitcoin? What if Bitcoin goes to $13 million? But what if neither of them are worth anything? Because now they're guys, there's some speculation about some interesting things going on with the crypto market in the U.S. Treasury market. We're going to get to that later. But just what if Bitcoin goes to $13 million? And what if neither? That dawned on me last night. I was like, this is critical that I need to communicate this, because maybe I'm wrong, right? But what if it goes to $100 million? You know, that guy Saylor, whatever, talks about, but neither are worth anything. Who cares, right? Bitcoin could be worth 15 quadzillion Zimbabwe dollars. Bitcoin could be worth, whatever they want to call it. What if it goes up there, but neither are worth anything? And I want you to think about that, okay? Because like on one hand over here, you can have paper dollars and Bitcoins and all that kind, cryptos, all that stuff. But what if they're all just woo, okay? Because now you have Tether. I wait till you hear about this. But over here, right? Maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 50 years, maybe it never happens. I could be dead wrong, right? Trust me, the crypto people would tell me I'm dead wrong. But what if Bitcoins and dollars are just whatever? They're worthless. But over here, you still have your silver and your gold, right? That have been around for 5,000 years, not 15 years like crypto, okay? And if we look at it on a longer time frame, I wrote this out last night. I felt so strong about this. Are you going to tell me, let's just think about 50 years from now, okay? What's the US dollar? The Federal Reserve has a stated goal for the dollar to lose 2% of its value per year. Okay, so wouldn't that mean that in 50 years, think about 50 years from now, how much is this going to be worth? And think about how much a Bitcoin is going to be worth. I'm just not buying it, okay? Because they're depreciating the dollar, and we know that technology changes. Bitcoin's the new technology. Bitcoin is the new blah, blah, blah. And again, I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I'm just going through my thought process. I could be dead wrong, right? Could be absolute dead wrong. But what about new technology that comes out? Okay. And again, then I want you to think about silver and gold. Now there's this new, this gets interesting, and I'll say it's speculation, but I'm hearing several people talk about this idea that that the crypto world is now being used to basically subsidize the United States government. Okay, Vince Lanci put out, I thought, probably a very brief, but I thought a tweet that really summed up this idea. He said, Tether may as well be a nation on Mars. He's saying, like, Tether, which is one of the cryptos, that it might as well be its own nation on Mars. Okay, because it's buying all of our treasuries. Tether is this crypto that's tied to the US dollar. It has to buy US treasuries. So Tether is buying all of our US treasuries and using them to pump Bitcoin and hide our deficit. It's perfect. Okay. And not just Vince that I've heard mention this in the last few weeks, right? So I asked the question, I have to ask the question, okay, it feels like crypto is becoming aligned with fiat in the dollar, in the US government, in the treasury, in subsidizing our debt. It feels that way, almost embedded with it. Okay. It feels like also, isn't it interesting that at the same time, crypto is totally aligned with the main, like crypto was supposed to be like digital gold, right? And outside of the mainstream financial system. But now what I'm hearing, could be wrong, but it makes sense, is that they're using Tether and Bitcoin to indirectly subsidize the United States treasuries and the deficit. And is it also interesting that at the same time, every main that Bitcoin, which was supposed to be this alternative store of value outside of the mainstream financial system, has been totally embraced by companies like Fidelity Investments, BlackRock, right? Does that make you wonder what's really going on out there? I think we need to think deeply about this. And from a silver and gold investing perspective, there's nothing changed for us. We're still completely in that. And I guess that's the good news. We are still, it just feels like crypto and Bitcoin is getting sucked in to the mainstream, and they're okay with that, right? As long as the price of Bitcoin goes to 100,000, 200,000, whatever the case may be. But the reality is, I believe right now that if you really want to be, and it pumps the thing up more and more. Crypto potentially is becoming part of the big bubble, right? Part of the big US debt bubble. And gold and silver are maintaining their independence, right? I wonder why. You know why? Because Mother Nature, right? The laws of nature are what created silver and gold. Now, what about China? This is interesting. I had no idea. I had no idea. But do you know that crypto in China loves silver and gold? This is all about silver and gold. China loves silver and gold. Bitcoin and crypto are illegal in China. I think I knew that, but maybe I didn't know that. So I did more research on it last night. So that's the economic powerhouse of the world right now. China, right? The IMF, I think, said it's the world's biggest economy. Okay. They love gold and silver. Crypto, Bitcoin, illegal. Okay. The world's factory, right? China makes real things, right? And they're doing a real good job of doing it. They love physical gold and silver. Okay. And China wants all the world's gold and silver. China does have 200,000 Bitcoin, which they seized from, over on legal terms from people in their country that were illegal crypto operators. Okay. That's $20 billion worth. I'd just like to throw in that if they decide to sell all that crypto, that would eat up about roughly almost a year's production of silver. Okay. But China is the world's biggest economy. Think about it. Think about this. And in the context of what we just talked about, China, Russia, all right, we're not going to go into the BRICS thing, but the Eastern countries that are making big moves, right, to shore up their finances with precious metals. They love gold and silver. And then you have the United States, right, that hates gold and silver, not you and me, but our government. And on top of that, Like the United States is becoming paper, fiat, crypto, right? Especially now with what Donald Trump is saying. So the United States is paper, fiat, debt, crypto. China, right, has debt, but they have real assets and they're silver and gold. I don't know. Like they say this about the Chinese. They are long-term planners. We'll see how that works out. We got one more crazy chart to look at. And this one will, again, give you some solace as a silver and gold investor. This came from Garrett Coggins. For those who think that the gold price is too high right now, this is crazy, guys. In 2011, the GLD ETF, that's the ETF that you can buy that supposedly buys physical gold. Its market cap rose to match the SPY, that's the S&P 500 ETF market cap. Today, GLD's market cap is currently 11% of the SPY ETF. So if we pull this chart up, make sure we got you on the right screen, which we do, you can see in 2011, this ratio was 1-to-1. The GLD, the amount of money in the GLD ETF as compared, the market cap as compared to the SPY ETF. Now we are all the way down to almost 10%. That would mean 11%. That would mean that to get back to that 1-to-1 ratio, we would need 9 times the amount of money going into the GLD ETF. What does that tell us about the gold, about Westerners and their investments in gold and silver? It tells us one very simple thing. The Western investor, your neighbors, my neighbors, still have yet to show up to the party for gold and silver. It's a good thing. You might think, well, why is that a good thing, Ron? It needs to go up 9 times because the path of least resistance is to the upside. Even if we got back to 50% in the GLD to the S&P 500, guys, that would be an unbelievable increase in demand for physical gold. And I'm sure the same thing's true with silver, and it would drive the price higher and higher and higher. We've got to realize the good news that's embedded in all this, suppressed Western investor data that we get for silver and gold. And that is that when that changes, when that improves, right, we're going to see massive, big flows of funds coming into gold and silver related investment products. And it's going to be a wild time. We got 3 Fed speakers today. Buckle up, right? It's time for the Fed to go out and talk. Who knows what they'll do to the markets? Let's go do a quick update on the silver and gold price. See if it got better or worse here in the last 10 minutes. Take a deep breath. I'm going to update it. And okay, got a little better. Silver down 13 cents. Gold, silver still holding above $31 per ounce. Let's go out and take a look at the silver chart because I think that we've got some kind of key levels that we need to keep an eye on. Obviously, staying above $30 is critical. There's the futures market. Oh, tonight, guys, the big NVIDIA earnings announcement. That's going to be big news. Could send shockwaves through the financial markets. I mean, I don't know. NVIDIA's market cap is something like God only knows, 100 million times that of the entire silver mining sector. So let's pull up the silver chart and just look at how we're playing out here. We'll start with 6 months. Okay, looks pretty good, right? If you see from down here, hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, we're still in a. Let's draw a line here. Let's get the crayons out real quickly. Look, guys, if we start down here and draw a line, right, I would say we're still definitely in that uptrend, even if we go out to 2 years on the silver chart. Yeah, I mean, hold on here. Sorry, guys, moved you all over the screen there. Hopefully you're not too dizzy. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we still have this uptrend. Let's go to a 5-year and see if there's any Oh, yeah. Got the maximum. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. The silver market is remaining resilient to this point. Okay. I think it's critical that we stay above $30 per ounce. And if we can get through, you've heard it a zillion times, $34, $35 range again. What's so exciting about that is we broke through the 32 range. We beat up against it a number of times. The more times you beat up against and then get, and then eventually once it gets through, typically the move higher is much, much, much more aggressive. Let's go check on. I heard that the odds of an interest rate cut at the next Fed meeting had dropped. Let's go take a quick look at that and see. We're going to go. Here's how you do it. If you guys want to do this yourself, go to Google, type in CME FedWatch tool. Go to the CME FedWatch tool. They got this little ticker at the top that'll tell you that the next Fed meeting is in 28 days. But if we go down, yeah, wow. So what this is telling us here is that the odds of a 1/4 point, 25 basis point rate cut at the next meeting have dropped to only 55. It's almost 50-50 at this point. That's interesting. There's a 45% chance that the Fed won't cut rates. That's interesting, right? As we're heading into the inauguration of Donald Trump as our next president, let's look at January and see what they're saying. January, they're saying there's a 52% chance that will be a 1/4 point lower. 30% chance even in January that we'll be at the same thing. Let's go out. Why don't we go out to October of next year? Okay. This shows us that they're saying there's a, where are we? 4.50. Oh, that's interesting. So October of next year, there's only a 2% chance that rates will be where they are right now. Looks like a 30% chance that rates will be about 0.75% lower, or 75 basis points, and a 20% chance that it'll be a full point lower, and another 25% chance that it'll be a 0.5 point lower. So the market right now, and again, that's the smart money, is saying that rates are going to be lower pretty significantly a year from now. It's going to be a crazy, crazy year. I want to say thank you to the moderators, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, the one and only Annie Oakley, and Big Tim the Silvershire. Also, I want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold and Fortuna Mining, of course, our friends at Pimbex. And don't forget, also, guys, I've got a Dirty Man Safe giveaway going on December 30th. You can learn more about that in the description of the video. There's a link where you can click to go enter the Dirty Man Safe giveaway. And if you ever buy a Dirty Man Safe, there's a discount code RON10. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the basement. Okay, it's a big deal. I know we love to get together, talk about silver and gold. You have a great day. Okay, and I will see you soon. Thank you.